Looks like we're here.
What's going on, YouTube?
Hey, yo, what is up? We are back, guys. It's Chris and Jay. Tonight we're taking a look at Loki, episode 5, guys. This is the penultimate episode. So we got one more after this. It's going to be the season finale. Huge things happening. If you're not caught up, turn this one off. We got a video on last week's episode. You're going to want to check that out. Before we get started, be sure to hit the subscribe button and click the bell on both channels. We're live streaming right now on WeSibs as well as the Lata Quente Ledger. So we're going to dive into this episode. We're also going to be able to show you some of what's going on. And of course, we're always keeping an eye on the chat. So let's get this watch party started. Again, I'm Chris. That's Jay. And let's do this. Oh, thank you so much. Yes, the iPad Pro has been a crazy device. But yeah, a ton of more videos coming on that this week, by the way. So stay tuned. And let's get this show on the road. Jay, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, play. All right. And we will be able to pull up some screenshots and some video on the live stream here. Hopefully we don't get, copyright stricken or anything like that.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. So okay, so now we're opening up here in the TVA. You got a winding, rotating shot down the hallway to one of the TVA elevators here. You're noticing some fine details like the hey, what's up, TC? Welcome. All right, here we are in the aftermath of what happened last episode, where the timekeepers were exposed as being robots. Oh, TC, this is episode 5 here. We're live watching it right now, narrating as well as showing you guys some of the visuals. So if you don't want spoilers,
you're gonna get it.
Yep, absolutely. So if you don't want spoilers, be sure to check out our last week's episode 4. So here we are on the trash planet. We can pull some of that footage up here. This is where Loki ended up at the end of last episode, where he was introduced for the first time to the Loki variants. We had Old Man Loki. We had Kid Loki. We had Gator Loki, Black Loki. Like there were a whole ton of different Lokis. And here we go.
And we had a lot of thoughts and theories about whether or not this was going to be the place for all of the variant forms of everyone, or if it was just Loki. So we'll have to wait and see how this episode kind of plays out to get more details. Yeah.
Check this out. Put that up. We've got, oh man, we have a huge monster on this trash planet. One of the Lokis said, we're lunch, basically. And they show this huge, gigantic monster emerging out of the smoke, red, blaring eyes, as well as a glowing red mouth. Looks like its body was made of smoke. And here we have Sylvie basically holding Ravonna Rainslayer at knife point. She's gloating a little bit. I don't know if you guys, oh yeah, you guys can't see the captions here.
So Ravonna's over here saying that she's in the dark as well. She doesn't know who's actually behind the timekeepers.
Okay, so they're explaining now that what we've previously known as being erased in this show, they actually can't remove all the matter of these crazy universes, so they just move them to these trash planets.
Now Ravonna's saying that nothing comes back from this place. The place where Loki was sent to.
Okay, so Ravana's offering Sylvie help if Sylvie is able to trust Ravana, which is obviously going to be extremely hard to do. But she gives in and gives them what looks to be a smartphone in some kind of case to make it not look like a smartphone. Here we have some great things. Keep your eyes peeled for different sci-fi tropes. If you've been watching any of the coverage from other YouTubers, they've been talking about things we can look out for from other sci-fi TV shows, Doctor Who, Star Trek, things that have gone to this planet. We've got some peacocks down there. What looks like the heads of the Watchers.
Loki wants to know what exactly is going on.
Yes, as do we all. Right, so Loki's just having a fit here. Kid Loki pulls a knife on him. And this creature's name is Alioth. Only place, guys, where you're going to be able to see some footage from the episode. We're trying to sneak it in here and there without getting copyright stricken. So you know what to do if you want more of that. Hit the subscribe button and click the bell so that you don't miss. Gator Loki.
So Loki's asking, why are there so many different forms of Loki? And the old Loki says it's because Loki survived. That's what we do.
Okay, and this Alioth creature is a matter eater. So basically, they put them on this planet because it's the best thing that they can do in terms of erasing them. They don't erase them, but they put them on the planet that's like a shark tank, and Alioth, this creature, is the shark. If you're just joining, welcome. We are live watching Watch Party style Loki. We're going to be able to show you different clips of the actual episode as we're watching. At least we're trying to without getting copyright stricken. So be sure to hit the subscribe button once again and click the bell. And also hit us up in the live chat here so that we can talk with you and react to it together. Suspenseful music plays as we look out over the trash planet here as the Lokis, including Gator Loki, Classic Loki, Black Loki, all these different Lokis, they are walking with our Loki to this secret hideout away from the Gator energy-eating creature Alioth.
Almost gives me like a Fallout feel right now. The shelter that they're going into.
Yeah, it does have Fallout vibes for sure. Oh, shoot, Mjolnir. Oh, shoot, who was that? What version of Thor was that? That was like mini Thor in there with Mjolnir. It might have been Beta Ray Bill. I'm not too sure. Did you see that, bro?
So crazy.
That was huge. Guys, keep your eyes peeled. The music right here is so Doctor Who in vibe and in nature. Miss Minutes. Well, then it wouldn't be the end of time now, would it? She's basically, Ravana is asking Miss Minutes to show her the beginning of time. And Sylvie's like, okay, well, what about the end of time? She says it's just a void. Hit me up in the chat if you're East Coast crew, because it's 3 a.m. here.
Yes, it is. Oh boy,
Try.
the Void spacecraft.
Great. Okay, so of course there's one of those. There's a craft that is, according to Miss Minutes, able to travel through the void.
Now Ravonna is offering her help.
I don't trust Ravonna at all. The way she said, uh-huh. Uh-huh. She doesn't trust Ravonna.
So Ravonna was clearly setting her up.
Yeah, yeah. Yep. Yep. I told you can't trust Ravonna.
Nope.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what she's thinking of doing. Going on the run.
That's
Ravonna
the only
had
thing
her
she can do.
trust. Yep. Wow. She's gonna get shot the second she comes out there. Uh-huh.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, Ravana's really showing her
Her
true
true
colors.
colors. Yeah.
That she has no
And she'll put her in a
intention.
time loop of good memories if she has any.
Yeah, you know, I know there'd been a lot of speculation, guys, that Ravana could possibly
Oh
be
boy.
good.
Here we go. She just pruned
She's
herself.
Yep, she pruned herself, sending herself to the trash planet with Eliath and our Loki. Wow. And so Ravana. Okay, so now they paused a little minute and on the soldiers and their reaction to Ravana. Um, after what's her face? After Sylvie killed herself or pruned herself, showing possibly a rebellion from the soldiers.
Well, we know that in the last episode there was a lot of thoughts and a lot of theories about how this was going to turn out for, as we see the Lokis battling amongst themselves here. Um, just waking up to the reality of what was truly happening, as the timekeepers weren't real; they were robots. So it was a lot of ideas as to how that would end up turning out for everybody at the TVA, as they were being told that they were all variants of some sort.
Yeah. So Loki just said that Thanos kills all of them after Ragnarok. They're all just, stroking each other's ego here.
Their own.
Yeah, exactly. So he's having this moment, classic Loki's having this moment of recollection, and basically what he did during the events of Ragnarok and after Ragnarok with Thanos, because Thanos killed our Loki after the events of Ragnarok, but he's saying he hid as some space debris and contemplated his life. So, and once again, guys, if you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button as we're trying to show you some actual footage from the episode without getting copyright stricken.
So classic Loki just said that they have one part to play in the entirety of the universe, and that's the God of the Outcast.
That's true. So Loki's saying either escape or, die trying. Our Loki is going out of the hideout, going out of the bunker, and encouraging the other Lokis to join him, including Kid Loki, who seems to be the leader. Now, as we know, Sylvie is now on this trash planet. And they're explaining once again, Alioth is what keeps them all there on this trash planet. Okay, Loki's now claiming that he's going to kill Alioth, and he needs their help to do it. And of course, they're laughing. Because if you've seen Alioth, he looks like a creature on the power level of Surtur or someone like that. Okay, so Loki's now leaving the bunker here. Oh, and there are about 10 other Lokis waiting for him, like we've seen. Wow. He's saying it's a nightmare as he looks at all these versions of himself. And it looks like we have what is being called King Loki in the series, the one with the horns on his head and the suit, that we've also seen in other versions of Thor, the movies. Okay, so Sylvie's waking up in some sort of trashed school bus, it looks, and breaking out into the larger planet. And it looks like Alioth is here, destroying one of the buses. The CGI there looked a little unfinished. That was a little strange. Oh. Something strange happened there. She seemed to be using her powers and something happened. We're going to show as much as we can, guys, on the screen. Also, hit us up in the live chat. We'll show some of that as well. Just having a watch party here if you're new. Oh, she's making a run from it. Looks like a truck from Pizza Planet pulls up and Sylvie jumps in. I'm assuming. Oh, it's Mobius.
It's Mobius.
Okay, so obviously we knew Mobius got pruned in the end of in the last episode as well. So, and now they're running from Alioth, the giant alligator kind of looking creature. And we see pyramids. Yeah, go ahead.
Sphinx, it gives me like Dormammu vibes almost.
Yeah. Facts. So here we have King Loki. What? Wow, so now this Loki here to the far left is explaining that he basically ratted them all out. Oh my gosh, all these Lokis are just turning on each other.
That's Loki for you in all variant forms.
It's just ridiculous. Oh my gosh, it's chaos. So King Loki just got his arm bit off, and now there is a brawl between all the Lokis, with Kid Loki taking Gator Loki and making a run for it. Oh my gosh.
This is the epitome of what happens when you have a bunch of Loki.
Very
Nothing
true.
but chaos and carnage.
Yep, nobody can trust anybody. That one Loki looked like he was from the Sandlot. So it looks like they have some projections. Oh, they have some Loki projections that are out there fighting with them. That was really cool. That was a cool sequence. Glorious purpose. We have that saying again. Glorious purpose.
Loki's life motto.
Yeah. Okay, now Kid Loki explained that pretty much all the Lokis are the same, and when any of them tries to be any different, they get sent there. That's what they're talking about right now. And so now they're agreeing to go find Sylvie.
So classic Loki says that approaching Goliath is a death sentence, and that's as close as they're going to get him to it.
Okay, Mobius is having obviously a crisis of identity here. Coming to the realization that, well, he thought he was one of the good guys this whole time. You know, the TVA was certainly not what he expected. Yeah, so Sylvie's like, you know, you hunted me like a dog. How can I trust you? Blah, blah, blah. Mobius is like, sorry about it.
So now Sylvie was believing that she'd be able to find Loki, but now she thinks Goliath already got him.
Okay, so Sylvie and our Loki are thinking much the very same way, thinking that going back in the direction of Goliath is the way out. Now it is a method. It is a way of thinking out of the box, since none of the Lokis on this planet seem to want to go there. I am interested that it is interesting that we haven't seen any other characters, considering this is a dump off point for anything that has been pruned. We've only seen Mobius and some Lokis. Oh, and one version of Thor. Okay, and now here's the ship, the U.S. Eldridge, which was a ship in Philadelphia, a real life ship that was claimed to have gone missing at one point, I think in the Bermuda Triangle. So here's a little Easter egg. They're saying that, oh no, it didn't disappear. The TVA simply, you know, blipped it into their into the trash planet. So that is what that is a reference to. These are the crew members of the USS Eldridge.
And Goliath is no joke.
My goodness. Oh, instant skeletons. So I guess that's what happened to the USS Eldridge.
Now Loki's having second thought.
Yeah. And that was probably the purpose of that entire sequence there. Oh, looks like that was easy. They're about to meet up with Sylvie and Mobius in the Pizza Planet truck, basically. Do you Jay, do you think they're going to do a love story with these two characters for real, for real?
It's so weird, but they've really been hinting about that since what, episode 2, when they first started
Yeah.
having a conversation. Like they
Yeah.
really are leading us down that path.
I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah,
Weird.
it's really strange, especially when you know that this is just Loki
Yeah.
with Loki. So really strange.
Exactly, guys. If you're just joining us here, we're doing a watch party, but we're also able to show you, for some reason, YouTube hasn't taken us down, parts of the episode as we're watching it. So we'll be talking about it, reacting to it, and also hit us up in that comment section so we can all react to it together. So they're on the trash planet here. And basically all the Lokis are afraid of this creature, Goliath, which eats matter and is pretty much like a dumpster. And they're going to try to kill it. So Sylvie is explaining that whatever they're after in terms of the TVA is beyond the void at the end of time, and Eliath is a guard dog just protecting and keeping anyone away from it. That's her theory as of right now.
And her plan is to enchant the cloud monster known as Elias.
If that's
Which
even possible.
our Loki laughed at that idea.
Yeah. But you know what could possibly do it? So many multiple Lokis could possibly do an enchantment that could do something to a creature that big. So here we have a look at Ravonna, who has shown her true colors in betraying Sylvie, even after telling her to trust her. We're seeing a moment with her alone. Maybe we'll get some more insight into what her real motives are, because certainly she's had some moments
who the
where
real
the camera.
Big bad is.
Yeah, even so. Yeah. So here we have B15 in prison here. Of course, she knows now that she's a variant and she's being kept prisoner.
Now B15 is asking her who she's been disloyal to.
And B15's explaining, look, because the timekeepers weren't real, it changes everything. And Ravonna's like, look, no, the timekeepers, with or without them, we need stability. And until we figure out what's going on, we're not changing anything about their MO. So Ravonna's trying to exploit B15 for insight into how Sylvie thinks, because they did share a mind link at one point.
And she's saying that Sylvie's entire motivation is revenge.
Yeah. Okay, and now B15's implying that what Ravonna's doing is not actually about protecting the TVA, but rather just finding out who's behind all of this. She can control. So B15 is explaining that Sylvie will find who's behind all of this before Ravonna for one reason, because Ravonna only wants to find this truth. Sylvie needs to find this truth. So just a little bit of a, dramatic writing there. So I don't know why with this motivation, Ravonna does want to find who created the timekeepers and stuff. Why wouldn't she team up with a brilliant mind like Loki and just work together? Like, why betray Loki?
Well, I mean, she's saying to Miss Minute that it's about protecting whoever created the TVA, but
yeah,
that's clearly not something that we can believe in. Because clearly Ravonna has made it clear she's not someone that can be trusted.
Yeah, exactly. And guys, for those of you just joining, if you are or watching this after it's aired, if you guys are not able to access Loki on Disney Plus, this is the next best thing, because we are actually able to show you little clips here and there of the episode as we're watching it. They're having a fireside chat about their plan for taking down Eliath. Sylvie and our Loki are off talking by themselves. Once again, playing on that love
it's
thing.
just so weird.
It is.
Like, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know your thoughts on in the comment section down below. But this whole kind of love story that they're seemingly telling between Loki and himself, it's just very strange. And I really want to know what people's thoughts are about where this is actually headed, or what it could actually mean at the end of this show. This is the penultimate episode, so we are definitely going to be getting one more episode after this to wrap everything up. And I just don't understand this storyline that they've been running with since episode 2.
Yeah. And Loki, I guess, was a little cold, so he made him a blanket. And Sylvie said, "Well, can you make me a new outfit?"
Now they're talking about the moment that they had that caused the Nexus event from the last episode. It almost seems as if they're discussing whether or not they can be in a relationship.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Sylvie here explaining, "I don't have friends. I don't have anyone." Which is honestly, I mean, they're trying to drum it up for drama, but that's kind of par for the course for Loki. He kind of doesn't have friends. Oh boy.
Loki wraps them together.
Loki in a blanket with himself.
That could get us kicked off this stream.
Yeah. Right.
Oh,
Oh
just
boy.
so weird.
It is weird. I don't understand why Loki would be flirting with himself. Of all the people in the universe, the multiverse, even, you can't find anybody but yourself to be like. Hey, hey. Oh, TC, you're saying the episode is done. Yeah, we're finishing up here the last couple minutes, and then we're going to be reacting to it. We got started about 5 to 7 minutes late, so we got about 5 minutes on our timeline. Yeah, just about. Oh, you're saying, "Oh crap, not done yet." Yeah, there's probably a secret ending too, TC.
Yeah, I would believe so.
Huge long sequence here
Yeah,
with not a lot in it in terms of dialogue.
actual
Eh,
actual content. Even.
yeah, if you're just joining
Just
us here now, guys, we're watching the last couple minutes of Loki, and then obviously we're gonna have to react to it because they're having a long dialogue scene here, but we are showing you bits and pieces of the episode, hoping to not get copyright stricken by YouTube. So if you want to support that, hit the subscribe button and click the bell as we finish up these last couple moments. I'm looking for some action, some kind of big cliffhanger going into the next episode, because this is what we're getting right now. Just Loki and Sylvie having their conversation, possibly falling in love with each other. Here we have
in
these headless
himself.
peacocks. Yeah, exactly. All right, we've got some lightning happening and Eliath coming down in a cloud again. Apparently, the watchdog for the TVA guarding. Oh, there's one of the Atari ships, I think. And there's Loki and Mobius and Kid Loki. Yep,
Gator
one more
Loki.
episode left, TC. So we're gonna, man, I hope they end this with something good.
Yeah, I mean we got about uh, 14 minutes left, but that includes the credits, and we are assuming TC that there's a post-credit scene, but we'll
Yeah,
definitely have to wait and see.
yeah. Yeah, Sylvie thinks she can enchant Eliath, so that's the big plan, which we knew. Um, they're just having kind of a big hero moment on the hill where they explain that again.
She hands our Loki the tempad.
Okay. Now Loki's saying he'll follow her wherever she's going to go. So they grab the tempad. Okay, I've got some huge reactions to this episode already. If this is the way that they end it,
I'm like conflicted right now.
yeah, that's definitely one thing that I'm feeling.
Like,
Taking Kid Loki's sword here. Oh, are we finally gonna get to see him on the plane? I think that's kind of the backpack that he had. Oh no, it's not. So many things that we've seen in trailers now are from the last episode because we haven't
yeah.
seen them yet. Except when he didn't at the end of Ragnarok. Or more like Infinity War. Endgame? Infinity War. Yeah. TC's asking what's the name of this episode. This episode is called Journey into Mystery, which is definitely what they're doing. So looks like Loki and Mobius here are having a final goodbye, possibly. I mean, it's possible. Since there's only one episode left, Mobius is going back to the TVA to be imprisoned, and Loki and Sylvie have stayed on the trash planet to attempt to enchant Eliath. And they're
cloud
still
monster.
staring at this cloud. He's like a giant cloud chicken or something, maybe a gator or something. Is that the that almost looked like the Millennium Falcon?
It did.
Looked like we had heads of the Watchers. Okay, here comes Eliath. It looks like a dragon. Not a chicken, sorry. All right, looks like the other Lokis are having second thoughts. You know, this is our friend.
But in the end, they're
Seems
Loki,
burdened.
so.
Very true. But these other two Lokis are obviously burdened with
Glorious
tremendous
purpose.
Okay, glorious purpose. Here we have a shot of one of the aircraft carriers from S.H.I.E.L.D. that we saw in Avengers 1. Okay, here comes the cloud creature, Eliath, and more standing. Constant standing like heroes. Like, okay, this is great.
And just to point out the fact that our Loki is standing behind Lady Loki.
Yeah, that was one of the things I was gonna get into in reaction. He's kind of taking a back seat right now.
Yeah.
As a character. Okay, she shook her head no, and he nodded his head yes. And now he's running straight after, to the side. While Sylvie tries to, she
So
starts
he's
using some
playing
green
the
magic.
distraction.
Yeah. Okay, so he's waving this sword that Kid Loki gave him, which is pretty cool. I hope he holds on to the sword. And here comes Eliath
Cool.
to get some lunch. Meanwhile, Sylvie is trying to do the enchantment, and it just looks so futile. Okay, so Eliath is once again distracted.
He's heading back towards Sylvie.
Yeah, he's headed back towards Sylvie. Yep, Sylvie is about to get chomped. Oh, what is that? Some huge Loki green energy. Who is that? What is that? Oh, here we go. Classic Loki. With a huge, gigantic construction here. Oh my goodness, he's made Asgard, basically. Classic Loki with a huge demonstration of power.
Serious
raw power. Making a whole Asgard. And this is older Loki, so he's had a lot of time to learn how to do stuff like that. So he's holding up this illusion, this construct of Asgard itself, which completely distracted Eliath. We're the same. Literally. It's not.
Yes. Yeah. Not even a figure of speech. Like, you are literally the same person.
Literally the same. Okay, and Eliath went to bite into the illusion, and nothing happened. And Eliath is just chomping down on nothingness. And here the Lokis go. Loki and Sylvie trying to enchant something. The cinematography is gorgeous, fantastic,
Absolutely.
and that's par for the course for this show. It looks like they're, I don't know, they got some green energy around their hands, and okay, an
Well,
old school
remember, this
Loki.
is supposed to be them enchanting
Yeah,
Elias.
and we'll see if it worked, because Elias just
Oh,
overwhelmed Loki's
classic Loki. He's about to
yeah,
get got.
classic Loki's construction. Yeah, it looks like he's about to pay the ultimate price. Screaming glorious
Glorious
purpose.
purpose. I might just have to start walking around the street just saying that.
Glorious purpose. Ah, and there goes classic Loki.
Got.
Yep. And that glorious purpose, that's what he was alluding to. His glorious purpose was to help these Lokis. Okay, and they did all that and threw a green energy thing through the head of Eliath, and I think the enchantment worked.
I think so.
I
Now
hope
that
they
also
show
begs
it.
the question: is that as there's about 6.5 minutes left with
Yeah.
potentially a end credit scene, if
Yeah.
this was, I mean, obviously there's going to be more to it because we're still dealing with another episode.
Yeah.
But
Oh boy.
there's definitely a strange feeling that's about to happen here.
Yeah, do you see what they're looking at? It's a castle. This castle looks like, dare I say it, Victor Von Doom's castle in, I
Well, there
think
was
it's
a lot of
Latveria.
speculation
And
of
with all
Doom
that
being the new
green
big bad.
energy, and stuff. Okay, guys, so now so that was the end of the episode with them looking at the castle. We're gonna react to this. I got huge reactions coming. Let's skip ahead to the secret ending, if there is one here. Let's see. They got to do one. Let's see. We're looking. Guys, I'm not Jay, are you not seeing one? Oh, wait.
Hold on. At about 45 minutes, I think there might be something.
Yeah, guys, I'm not seeing a secret ending here. Wow. Okay, so that was all they wanted us to see. And what that probably means, guys, is that there are big implications for what they just saw. So, Jay, I'm going to pull up the freeze frames here and you can pull it up on the screen. I'm going to pull up here what we have, which is this castle right here. Now, say it. This looks like Latveria. And for those of you who don't know, Latveria is, I hope I'm saying it right. It is the castle over which Dr. Doom presides. Yes. And so with that, I would have a prediction that Dr. Doom could be the one behind all of this. There's only one place in Marvel Comics that I'm familiar with that looks exactly like this. Jay, what do you think of that? Could this be
Yeah, I
Dr.
mean
Doom's castle?
that I don't really think it could be anything else. Looking at this particular image, um, I just, in looking at this, it's, I mean, obviously visually it's spectacular, but it definitely lends itself to believing that it is, Doctor Doom's castle. There's,
Yeah. Now, one thing we can obviously see that this is someplace definitely in the multiverse, guys. As you can look at the sky and see the same kind of blue, pink, orange, and green energy that we see in the Doctor Strange multiverse traveling sequences. Even
Yep.
in Doctor
That
Strange
same
1,
kind
where
of
he's,
with Dormammu. Yeah. That same kind of
yeah,
feel to it. Also, the quantum realm. We know that there was a
yeah,
lot of speculation about the quantum realm and how that was going to play out from this show leading into Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantum
yeah,
Mania, the previous speculation that the TVA itself was inside of the quantum realm. So there's a lot of potential possibilities coming from this final shot, really, because I felt like this episode had a lot of almost nothingness. But the closing moments in getting that, the idea that Elias was almost a guard dog for a more
yeah,
powerful entity, really does
sure.
lend itself, especially seeing that castle, to believing that it's Doctor Doom.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as far as a villain, I'm not sure who else it could be, but obviously there will be a ton of speculation on this. Drew Buckeye asks, is at the 37:58 point, time point, is this the statue of the Living Tribunal? So here we can obviously see a broken statue up here. I don't know if you guys can see the mouse. Um, it, what I would say is, yeah, definitely. You can see right here, if I zoom in, oops, yeah, you can see a mouth right here, and it's being covered with this cloak. And over here, you can see another face, which seems to be covered by some sort of cloak as well. And this is somebody we own, something we've only seen with the Living Tribunal. So there were a ton of Easter eggs. I'm going to jump back through a couple of them. Obviously, we have statues of the Living Tribunal. We have the USS Eldridge ship that was actually a real life ship that went missing in the Bermuda Triangle. There was a really interesting piece where they went down into a bunker where we saw Thor. Uh, a miniature version of Thor, or it might have been Beta Ray Bill. It went by so quickly that I didn't really see it. Let's go 10 seconds at a time here. Here, pay attention right here to this clip. What do we see? Nothing other than Mjolnir. Okay. And then under that, who is that? Oh, it is Frog Thor. Yes, so a popular version of Thor. Definitely, it's Frog Thor, and we've seen him in the comics tons and tons of times, teaming up with Thor, Beta Ray Bill, etc. Now, on this container here, we have T365, which who knows what that could mean. But yes, here confirmed is Frog Thor. So we're going back through all the. It's funny. There's like a fork over here. Who knows why that got transferred over? But there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. Mjolnir, like we said, and here's Frog Thor. So that was a little Easter egg for sure. But yeah, no, getting to that statue that is the Living Tribunal. I think there were some heads of the Watchers as well that were there, and we've seen the Watchers before in the multiverse. I love all the things thrown into the background. Drew Buckeye, absolutely. That's part of the great thing about having such a vast mythos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and even in the Marvel comics is that they can throw little Easter eggs at us at any point in time. But let's talk about the
Full
bigger implication. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
every
Uh,
episode is so full of it. I mean, there's so many things that even watching the episode multiple times back, there's things you pick up each and every watch through.
Yeah, absolutely. So getting to more of our reaction of the episode, and we'll get into more of the implications of the story as well. But one thing I just got to get off my chest, this right here, you seen this on the screen. Two main problems I have with this episode. Number one, and Jay, you can get to the part about kind of the relationship between Loki and Sylvie, but I want to talk about what is this? This was like a 5-minute scene that was so obviously done for filler purposes. Where they kind of reiterated
Definitely.
stuff that we already knew. I know they used it for some relationship bonding, but this is the penultimate episode. This we got one episode left, and this is the end of toward the latter half of this episode, and we're having this long dialogue with these two characters. The other thing that I would say, and Jay, you had brought it up, but this was something that I was noticing too, is that Loki seems to be taking a backseat to Sylvie right now. This is the Loki series. We came to see Tom Hiddleston, and Sylvie has been a fantastic character, but I don't want her to be the most important character. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is a show about Thor's brother Loki from our cinematic universe.
And on top of that, just to kind of adding on to that, this was supposed to be Loki's redemption story. Because remember, this was the Loki from the original Avengers. The Loki that we saw in Infinity War and Endgame steal the Tesseract and disappear. This was this Loki. This was not the Loki that we would see at the end of Endgame trying to save his brother, getting killed by Thanos. This is not that Loki. This Loki was the selfish version, and this was supposed to be his redemption story, getting back to the Loki that we knew at the end of Endgame. However, seeing the way that this dynamic played out with he and himself, really, because at the end of the day, while we've seen many variant forms of Loki, and this particular dynamic here with he and Sylvie, as she called herself, this is still Loki with Loki. And it's just a strange way to try to build a redemption story, because obviously this is a very big trope in Hollywood in storytelling, that you make the character relatable. And one of the ways that you can do that is by having them have a love interest. But what makes it so weird and, honestly, for lack of a better word, perverse with this particular show is the fact that Loki is having a love interest story with Loki. And it's just one of the strangest things to sit and watch play out, because it's just, I don't even have the words to really describe what this feels like. And I don't know if there's something you can jump on it more, but it's just a strange feeling, especially given the fact that, like you said, our Loki is almost playing second fiddle to Lady Loki, who was not meant to be the primary character of this show.
Right. At least not as far as we were led to believe. Now, what is interesting is the fact that Tom Hiddleston's time as Loki could be coming to an end. So they may be looking for a replacement Loki. They did kill him off in, Avengers. And so while they may be doing this to kind of give him one last shot at playing Loki, to kind of do some of the things that he wasn't able to do before, and maybe cameo in some other shows. But I really do think that Tom Hiddleston's time as Loki is winding down, and they may just be looking for a replacement, and that's the reason they might be trying to prop up Sylvie in this capacity. At the same time, talking to your, the weirdness, the awkwardness with falling in love with yourself, I think it is very Loki to fall in love with oneself. I do think that this is something that we could have seen in the comic books with the character Loki. Is it weird? Is it uncomfortable? Absolutely. You're essentially falling in love with yourself, but it is a different person in their manifestation, with it being this girl who's very different from Loki, I would say, in personality.
The only girl form of Loki.
Yeah, exactly. But it is still his character. It's his person. So let's talk a little bit about the implications of the end of this episode. So obviously, we know that Sylvie and Loki's plan is to enchant Alioth. They think that Alioth is the key to getting past the void, past the time void at the end of time, a place which Ravonna Rainslayer said could not be traversed. And she spoke of this vehicle that could possibly get there, but Miss Minutes wasn't able to find it. Sylvie caught on that it was a trap. So she was able to prune herself and get over here, and now she's looking for another way to get to that void. And she thinks for some reason that Alioth is going to be able to do it. Now, let's be honest, guys, this is a hunch.
One of the things she did say, and it was more of, I guess, a feeling that she had more than anything else, was the fact that she felt Alioth was almost like the guard dog for getting past the void, getting to what's beyond the void. And like you said, it really was a hunch more than
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah, and I think that makes it a little bit dissatisfying because it's like there's no actual guarantee that Sylvie's right on this at all. A guard dog is sometimes just the guard dog. You know what I mean? They don't know any secrets. I mean, at least this thing behaves animalistically, even if it's is sentient in some kind of capacity where it knows things about um, the origins of the TVA, the end of time, etc. The idea that we've been sold, or what's been portrayed so far in this episode and in this entire series, really is that the timeline is still being written, and so it's still raveling together, or being unraveled. They talk about untangling the sacred timeline from a jumbled mess, and that process is still going on. That's what they've been told, but I would assume that because they're variants and they were lied to about that, they're possibly being lied to about all of that. And that obviously leads us to the point where the enchantment has to happen. Now, once the enchantment happens, Loki and Sylvie would gain access to this creature's mind and everything, with a classic Loki making the ultimate sacrifice, creating an illusion that would distract uh, Elias long enough for Loki and Sylvie to complete the enchantment here. Um, so let's see. So yeah, so he does end up giving his life there, and then guys, we gotta talk. We gotta circle back here to this, because this once again is just an absolutely huge moment. I don't think we understand how big of a moment this is, and I cannot wait until next week because I think the news cycle is going to blow up with what this place is, where this place is, and who is in charge over there. But before we talk about that, I do want to say that there was no post-credit scene, because they truly ended the episode on something mammoth in proportions in terms of implication of the story. This could truly be the first Fox character fully brought to life in the MCU in terms of being manifest. I think this is Latveria, and I've said this before. Let me get to a comment here if we want to pull it up. I thought classic Loki disguised himself as his helmet, similar to how he escaped Thanos, hiding as a piece of debris. Very possible that story was told
That's
for
a
a reason. Jay, what
great
do you think of that?
idea. That's a great idea. Everything with Marvel, you have to like really break down, and the fact that we got a lot of conversation, a lot of supposition in this episode, to hear that story from classic Loki about how he hid himself from Thanos as a piece of debris, almost could be seen as this exact thing playing out once again.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and again, it's Loki, the god of mischief, and Chris, you said it at the very beginning of this series. Not to take anything you see in this series factually, because it can all change at the drop of a dime. Because of being the god of mischief, with the Tempads, with the Infinity Stones being the way that they are, nothing in this show can end the way we think it can, and it can be
yeah.
changed and rewritten at the drop of a dime. So it very easily could find ourselves with classic Loki having hid himself once again as a piece of debris
Yeah.
to get away from Elias.
Yeah, I think that's exactly why they told that story. I think that's exactly why they had that character moment with classic Loki, is because they were going to do that. And shout out to Drew Buckeye, because that was some eagle-eyed stuff right there. I do really agree with that theory.
Especially because
They
they
do all this.
focused on the helmet.
Yeah, exactly. Because they showed it. I do think that he ended up, disguising himself as a helmet here. But kind of proving Sylvie's theory correctly, and even look like here they're holding hands. Like, what is going on there? Anyway, I don't want to get back to the relationship thing, but let's talk about this Latveria place. So this does confirm that Sylvie was right in thinking that the guard dog, aka Elias, was guarding not only the trash planet and keeping everybody in line there and just eating up matter. But he was also guarding the portal to who's really in charge. And I guarantee this is who's really in charge, a master of both magic, multiple dimensions, and with insane power. This is somebody on a Doctor Strange level of total power. This is somebody who's probably tied to the Scarlet Witch's WandaVision series, because there's a ton of magic in Latveria. Um, Now, some other things that we can see, and we mentioned this a little bit earlier in the stream. Up in the sky, you can see that energy that is very similar to, as Jay said, the microverse from Ant-Man, as well as the energy we saw in Doctor Strange 1, where he was traversing the multiverse. Very similar energy. Down on the ground, we can see what looks like a rock, but I would say that rock is floating in space, because when you look in this area here, if you can see my mouse, I'll zoom in a little more. This looks like Earth. Okay, this looks like a horizon, and not a horizon. This looks like the atmosphere, and this looks like a continent right here in this area, right? And you can see the orb of the Earth. You can see, I don't know, maybe this is the US, maybe this is Africa. This looks like ocean, right? And this place looks like it's floating in space. I also say that because it looks like there's some debris, some things floating around here in the background of the image. And all this is just, dissecting the image. As far as this lighthouse up here, I'm not too sure what it is. So hit me up in the comments what you think this could be. But this castle screams Latveria. And what I will do real quickly is I will pull up on the screen a picture of Latveria, just so you can see how similar it is in appearance, and why you might think that Doctor Doom could be there. And of course, this has huge implications for the Fantastic Four showing up, huge implications for the next big bad. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, this was something that we speculated on even on last week's stream. So if you didn't check that out, we had the entire crew on for the Loki episode 4 live stream watch party, and we speculated on who this could be, who the big bad could be revealed as, especially seeing that the supposed timekeepers, the as Chris called them in his episode 1 review over on WeSibs, the gods of the Marvel universe, as they controlled the time, were shown to be robots. And we know that there has to be somebody in control of these robotic timekeepers that were basically a placeholder, a frontman, an image of a real big bad, a real true power, and someone that can easily have manipulated those things and controlled those things was that of Doctor Doom. And that's who we're believing this is.
Yeah. And here, I pulled up an image here on Google. This is just one of the early images when you type in Doctor Doom Latveria. You can see, once again, this dark castle palace looking thing, set high on a rock here. This version of Latveria is obviously on Earth, so there's a town around it, and Doctor Doom rules over the people of Latveria here in the wilderness. And this version is obviously different from the one that would be in space. Let's see. Noah Camus says it could be Tobey Maguire's castle because the door on it looked very well. yeah, it could be. You'll get your rent when you fix this door. Definitely. It looks like the door has been fixed, so it could be Tobey Maguire's. No, obviously, that's very funny. We will see Tobey Maguire, obviously, in Spider-Man No Way Home. There was some big news that came out. Grace Randolph was tweeting it. If you don't follow her, fantastic YouTuber, go ahead and follow her as well. Talking about the fact that we will see Charlie Cox's Daredevil in She-Hulk, confirmed in the Daredevil suit. And it will be much better than the cameo he has in Spider-Man No Way Home, where he just appears as Matt Murdock's the lawyer. So huge things, huge implications there. So it is confirmed that Netflix's Daredevil will be showing up in the MCU as early as Spider-Man No Way Home, and then further in his full suit in She-Hulk. So definitely multiverse stuff. Noah Camus you're talking about is on its way. But yeah, I'm just scrolling through right now some Google images here of Latveria. There have been a ton of images in the comics, um, but in every iteration, it's castle. Like it's a dark old castle. I'm thinking it right. It could be hopefully. Yeah, I do think it's Doom. Now they're saying Doom and Kang working together. Kang has been a name that has been thrown around so much in regards to this series, and they have really not wanted to. They've really not wanted to give us any hints that Kang the Conqueror is coming. I
Yeah, and
personally prefer Doom. Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
yeah. Well, no, what I was going to say was is that in the way that the timekeeper statues were inside of the TVA, that's where a lot of the speculation and thought about Kang came from, because they kind of had that kind of same look about them, um, as Kang had in the comic books.
Sure.
So I feel like that's where a lot of it came from, myself included. I thought that it very easily could have been, Kang in the way that they were presenting the
Yeah.
TVA and the way they were presenting those statutes. But obviously it's one of these things where, again, when it comes to Marvel, when it comes to this show specifically more than any of the others, you can't take anything you see believably. We got in WandaVision an appearance from Quicksilver from the Fox universe, but that was not meant to
Yeah.
be what we thought it was to be. So it's just one of these things where, with basically every single one of these Marvel properties, we have to get excited. We can get excited, but also know that they're going to try to play around with what legitimately is going to be shown by them in their universe,
Yeah.
in their MCU. So,
Yep. And all that glitters ain't made of gold. Obviously, we've said this from the beginning that the show could be throwing so many different curveballs, and I really do think that they are. Even some of the stuff we just saw throughout the episode in terms of Easter eggs and just little things in the background. I'm sure there'll be a ton of videos with Easter eggs. One of my favorites is the one by Emergency Awesome. Fantastic YouTube channel. He usually does the Easter eggs, does a fantastic job of picking through all of them. Comics Explained is also a great one. Fantastic YouTubers creating a fantastic community. So definitely we encourage you guys to check them out. But as far as what I've been able to pick up, we saw Frog Thor, we saw the USS Eldridge in this episode. We saw Drew Buckeye pointed out the Living Tribunal. There was a statue of the ruins of the Living Tribunal there. Super Doctor Who vibes in the theme music. Even in this hideout here, there was a ton of stuff. The vines and things, like just very old school, very Doctor Who TARDIS looking environment. Of course, a lot of this. Oh, the Thanos copter, yes, from the
yeah.
comic books, Thanos copter. So just a ton of stuff was shown in here. I think they really do want the fans to do a deep dive into these episodes. Here we're looking at a shot of a whole bunch of different Lokis. And from on to what is up? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, Jay, were you going to say something there?
Yeah, no, we also saw Mjolnir, obviously all the different variant forms of Loki, and what that in and of itself was bringing to the idea of the multiverse. There's just so much in each and every single one of these episodes. I'm one that's a very big believer in going back and rewatching shows. I've been very clear about that throughout the timeline that we've been on YouTube, and especially with these Marvel properties. There's so much in each and every one of these episodes that it takes multiple watch throughs just to get the entire picture of what they're trying to show. Even when you know what the outcome is going to be, it's still one of these things where you have to really pay attention and see just how much more you can capture from every episode.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, even in the Pizza Planet looking truck, which was very Pixar Disney, which you can see in this shot a little bit here toward the end. What looks like Stonehenge back there. I mean, it's not Stonehenge, but it looks like Stonehenge. Yeah, you obviously have the Sphinx. But yeah, just a ton of stuff that we'll be digging into throughout the week. probably doing a follow-up episode leading up to the finale, final predictions episode, something like that. So you're going to want to stick around for that kind of content because we might bring on Sydney and Zach from WeSibs and the Lataquente Ledger respectively, and have all of our predictions just right there in one video. So once again, you're going to want to stay around for that. Wait, was the Sphinx in this episode somewhere? Yeah. So the Sphinx was, we just thought I saw something that looked like an Ant-Man helmet in the background. Yeah, possibly.
Very possible.
Yeah. Did you see that, Jay? Ant-Man
I
helmet?
didn't catch it. But again, everything moves so fast. They just leave little teasers. It's one of these, especially with a show like, this, you have to go back and basically freeze frame every shot to be able to try to see everything that's there. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're in here, this freeze frame, this bowling alley here. Drew Buckeye says at 8:36 we possibly see that helmet. Let me go ahead and let's see. Here's 8:38. Here's where we see the heads of the Watchers, which we have seen. If you're just joining us, guys, we are recapping and reacting to the penultimate episode of Loki with the first season. Huge implications. We already talked about us thinking that that Doctor Doom is the villain at the end because that castle that we saw at the end looked like Latveria. Oh, yep, there you go. I think this is the Wasp's helmet. Yes. So here we have it pulling up on the screen. We're also doing some digging through the episode for some Easter eggs. That is definitely the Wasp's helmet from Ant-Man. Wow, that's great. Wait. Wasp doesn't have the same powers as Ant-Man. She can't get huge like that. Oh, yeah, she can. Yes, she can. But she can get really small. She can get really small. I think she can. In some versions of the comic book, she's gotten really big. You know what? This might be the old school version of Ant-Man's helmet. So yeah, we see Ant-Man's helmet here. What else are we seeing? We've got that bunker down there that ends up being, a bowling alley. Yeah. Anything here? We're seeing a stack of books here. You thought that was the Hornet's helmet from the first Ant-Man movie? Potentially. One thing I do want to point out, guys, is that this is an episode that, takes place on this trash planet, basically, where people get pruned and sent over there. We saw Mobius over there. There was speculation as to whether it would only be Loki that was sent to this, if everybody got sent to their own planet with other variants of them. But that's obviously not true because Mobius and Loki got sent to the same planet. And even Frog Thor was there. Where's everybody else? I thought there's, as much as they did in terms of, putting stuff in the background, we didn't actually see a lot of characters, especially when you're talking about the TVA working for millions, if not billions of years on this timeline, sending people to this planet. Some of them may have already gotten eaten, but I would imagine a lot of them survived.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the way that they tried to kind of excuse that was when classic Loki would say about the fact that, they're Lokis, they survive, that's what they do, that's how they've been here for so long. I think that could be the way that they're trying to write off everybody else.
Dang, but everybody
it almost feels
else,
like lazy. It almost feels, I'm wearing my Deadpool shirt. It feels like lazy writing. To call back the line from Deadpool 2. But yeah, it almost feels like a lackluster kind of finish and demise to the rest of the characters, the rest of the variants that were pruned.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, and Drew Buckeye does say they also mentioned cannibals. They did mention cannibals
pirates
running around. Yes, and pirates, but even the pirates were cannibals too. So
right.
There was a theme of cannibals throughout. So yeah, they alluded to other people being there. I just thought, we would probably see other characters. Real quickly, I want to talk about Ravonna Rainslayer's character, played by Gugu Mbatha Raw, and her kind of arc, her development over the course of this series. There was speculation from myself, from people online, and all of us here at Lataquente Ledger and WeSibs that she could potentially be a good character. There were a lot of moments, you know how TV shows do, where they linger on a character's face and they're like pondering things, especially after it was revealed that these guys up here, well, the timekeepers were fake, or at least robots, created. And, uh, she has a moment with Sylvie after Loki gets pruned, and they seem like they're going to team up. They seem like they're going to work together, but it quickly falls apart as Sylvie realizes Ravonna is playing her, talking about some kind of ship that can go to the void. And Miss Minutes, she's really stalling so that her guards can get there, while Miss Minutes realizes that she's looking for this ship that's not there. And of course, Miss Minutes already knows that it's not there.
It doesn't exist
So
at all.
Exactly right. So it's revealed that her character truly is it got her own motivations apart from working with everyone else. She too wants to find out what is going on with the TVA and who's behind it, but she's kind of trying to endear herself, or kind of what would you call it? Kiss up to whoever is in charge. And try and say, look, there was this threat to you and I found it out. A couple comments we want to answer, Jay. You want to get to the
So Noah says that it's Mephisto 100%.
You think the
Oh,
castle there is Mephisto's castle?
that's an interesting
Let's
take.
see. Let's see. Let's go back to the castle, because this is obviously the money shot of the episode. So everybody, Now you're saying this is Mephisto's castle. Now this would be huge for in terms of tie-ins with WandaVision and magic and stuff like that. But Victor Von Doom is also a magic user, and I think Mephisto would help develop a magic world that we kind of already have. Yes, he would be a big bad or whatever. Doctor Doom plays into the magic because he does practice dark magic, but he also ties in the Fantastic Four.
Right.
He also ties in, some other characters. Oh. Oh, the source. Oh, it's Mephisto 100%. The source, trust me, bro. Oh, I get it. Yeah, so I mean, this was exactly what we were saying before with WandaVision. It's Mephisto, and it was really Agatha all along, and that was about it. James Jones says, could be other world. Yeah, it's definitely another world. If you're talking about this shot right here, if you were talking about the Ravonna Rainslayer stuff before, just elaborate and clarify there. Morgan Le Fay. Very King Arthur. I doubt they would bring her character in to the MCU, only because they have better reins on other characters that they could use that fulfill those roles. I think they would bring in a Victor Von Doom before they would bring in a Morgan Le Fay, and it's only because of the characters that these villains are tied to. Mephisto is only tied to a certain amount of characters. Victor Von Doom is tied to a ton of characters. He's fought the Avengers, obviously, the nemesis, arch nemesis of the Fantastic Four. He's fought the X-Men. So stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think
Jay.
that in going with Victor Von Doom, like you said, Chris, it really lends itself and really just a firsthand path to the Fantastic Four, to the X-Men, to all of those Fox properties, Fox Marvel properties. It's just a much simpler path. And sometimes when we get to shows like this, we get to theories and movies, and seeing the way that the MCU has kind of run for the last decade plus, we can sometimes kind of overthink things. And sometimes the simplest path is the easiest and most direct path. And by having Victor Von Doom be the big bad here, that lends and easily pass a direct and charts a direct course to the Fantastic Four, to the X-Men, to all of those Fox properties that now tie them into the MCU with one character.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it could be that. And it does seem like the path of least resistance, the easiest way to get there. But I am looking into a comment we have from Noah Cam is saying, do we know what the quantum word? I don't know. I think the quantumic What is that word, Jay? The
Sure.
quantum, is that what you were saying?
Quantum
Quantum.
Realm
Okay,
City.
got it. Quantum Realm City. Um, so I'm looking into that as we speak, just to see what that kind of looks like and what it could be. Quantum Realm City. It's kind of like could be, could be. Let's take some screenshots here. The city in the quantum. Oh, the Quantum Realm City. Yeah, I know what you're talking about from Ant-Man or yeah, it was from Ant-Man. This was a city during the sequence where they're traversing the quantum realm, and there was a city there. I don't think, personally, I don't think that it's a quantum realm city at all. Um, Only because one, this is not a city. This is a castle on a hill, floating in space. And again, we dissected the image itself there, and you could very easily see that this. Hold on, let's get to it real quick. Where is it? Show me the shot. You can very easily see that this is no city. It could be a town. We don't know if there's anything down here, if you can see. But you do see that this is floating on a rock. You see some space debris floating here. I'll hit play on the episode just so you can see. It looks like this is debris of some sort. This looks like Earth back here. It looks like a horizon here. So it doesn't really look like a city to me, especially with, um, all that's going on here. Quantum Realm City looked more like this. I'll show you. Let's see. Bada bing, bada boom. This is Quantum Realm City right here. And we can see that the background is just quite different. That's what everybody else was saying in the other lives. Yeah. Honestly, looking at them side to side, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the resemblance. Uh, it's just a different aesthetic, different lighting, and of course, things can change, kind of like Thanos kind of changed his appearance over time.
Yeah.
But
Now,
I
the one thing I
don't
will say
think,
about the Quantum Realm City, there
yeah,
was a lot of theories and speculation that the TVA was that Quantum Realm City. And
I
I
did
would
hear that.
actually
Yeah,
lend myself to believe that idea more than this castle being the, Quantum Realm City. Um, because
mm,
when you look at the kind of image that they showed of the TVA early on, when Mobius is talking to Loki and kind of showing him and touring him around, that's more so to me what it looked like. Kind of had that same color palette, that same kind of orangey hue that we saw in that Quantum Realm City. So I think
yeah.
that this definitely lends itself to being Doctor Doom's castle.
Yeah, yeah, and Quantum Realm City, I think it does lend itself to being closer to what we saw in what was that from? Um, well, the TVA, yeah, the TVA, it's from the movie Ant-Man, but yeah, it does lend itself to being that. I don't think they wanted fans to be that eagle-eyed, but it's possible that they could have been showing the TVA off in advance. But
And
I
well,
say
the
all
other
that to
thing,
say
the
that,
other reason
yeah,
why I
yeah,
think that it could have been the TVA in the quantum realm is the fact that we heard all throughout Ant Man and the Wasp, all throughout Endgame and Infinity War, how time works differently in the quantum realm, and we would also
yeah.
hear that about the TVA. That time works differently in the
Mhm.
TVA.
In the
Plus
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the way that the city looked, the color shading and paletting that they use, the hues that they use, just kind of lends itself to believing that kind of feel.
Yeah. No, 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 no. I definitely see that. I see the resemblance, and that's why I do lean toward it being that more than, this here, this city here, or not even this city, this castle
Castle.
that does look like Latveria. Um, it would be the perfect place for it to be. Why create another odd dimension realm? Like the quantum realm can do it. It can cover the TVA. It can be somewhere like that. We're still not sure where Trash Planet is. That's probably somewhere in the quantum realm as well with Eliath. It's probably somewhere in the quantum realm between dimensions, and also existing in a place where time can work a little bit differently. Time also works differently the smaller you get. So in the microverse, there's implications that time could work differently there. So if these people are miniatures and stuff like that, uh, that's also something that could be looked into in terms of what these two places are. Um, but definitely, guys, I would put my money on, if I had to put it on some place, that this would be Latveria and this would be Doctor Doom's castle. I don't think that it's Mephisto. I don't think that this is a Doctor Strange type thing. Yeah, please tell what the last visual building exactly. Yeah, so that's what we've been talking about in this episode. That this is the home of Doctor Doom. None other than that. Now, I'm not sure what that thing is at the top. I think this is a watchtower. Um, it's just Elias. For the Devil's In is from Thor Ragnarok. That was hilarious. I remember that. It was just Elias. That's hilarious. Who
That is
knows? All this.
very funny.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, I just want to show, like we had said before, you got the multi-dimensional energy up here. You've got what looks like the atmosphere of Earth in some type of dimension. You've got what looks like a continent over here. You've got some blue here, what looks like cloud, because this is different from the green here. This is either cloud or mist here at Latveria. And then you also have some space debris. I'm going to play the sequence real quick. Hopefully we don't get copyright struck. I'm just going to go back a couple seconds so we can actually view the whole thing in its glory as it develops. And this is what they're looking at now. Give it a second. And here it is. And you can see, now, I don't know, that could be a ship in a way that it's moving.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, initially we thought it was debris, also partially based on classic Loki's story of hiding as debris.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely could be a ship passing through. And if we kind of want to go through following the stories of the properties that surround Doctor Doom, that could be the ship of the Fantastic Four passing through and getting their powers. If we want to really go down a bit of a rabbit trail, so
I was thinking about that too.
So many possibilities with this show. This image here to me just very much screams
it's the money
Doctor
shot.
Doom.
Yeah, so we're going to be dissecting this whole thing throughout the week, and we'll definitely go live again or, team up with everybody to make our final predictions for the last episode, guys. But thank you so much for doing this watch party with us, checking all of this stuff out, going into the Easter eggs, and obviously dissecting this last shot and predicting what it could be. Jay, was there any last cliffhangers you want to leave them with?
I think I just did. I think that ship.
Yeah,
this is just me kind of oddballing it and just kind of putting it out there just to say I was the first one that said it. But that ship is going to be the Fantastic Four, and we're not going to see it in the final episode of Loki, but in the first property that we see of the Fantastic Four, we're going to get a shot very similar to this. So mark my words, at 4:39 in the morning
on the East Coast. Yep.
On the East Coast, July 7th, we got the first glimpse of what could be the Fantastic Four. Obviously, I'm being a bit facetious, but this is definitely lending itself to be Doctor Doom, which easily ties in all of the Fox Marvel properties. He brings them all with him, by making this one bold statement here with this image. We bring in everybody from the external Disney properties that we have not seen yet. That lends itself to the Fantastic Four, the X-Men. We already got the confirmation about Daredevil in both his forms coming. First part in Spider-Man, No Way Home, and in She-Hulk as his full form, his real form, Daredevil form, Charlie Cox's Daredevil from the Netflix series. So there's just so much that we could continue speculating on. We could be here all night, but we definitely want to wrap this up. So you guys can go back, take a look at the episode, check out this stream once again, just to see what your thoughts are, how they kind of play out in terms of what we speculated on. We definitely want to hear from you guys down in the comment section below. This was a very interesting episode, to say the least. Really redeemed, in my opinion, by this final shot. I think there was a lot of elongated conversation that could have been chopped down a bit, but ultimately we got to where we needed to be with this closing image.
Yeah, definitely. Great episode, besides a little bit of, slow down in terms of the story, but they definitely made it worth it with this final image. So guys, let us know, continue the conversation with us throughout the rest of the week by leaving a comment down below. And on behalf of WeSibs and the Lattaquente Ledger, both live streaming right now, I'd like to thank you guys for joining us. Hit the subscribe button, click the bell so that you don't miss when we drop new episodes. You'll get a notification on your phone, so we can continue to cover this awesome Marvel stuff, your favorite movies and TV shows. Jay also is covering baseball all the time, and he's got some new shows on the horizon over at the Lattaquente Ledger. And then, of course, I do the Granny Geek Show on the Lattaquente Ledger as well. And over here on WeSibs, if you're watching on WeSibs, we cover your favorite movies and TV shows. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I'm Chris. That's Jay Lattaquente, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.